Welcome to Weekly 2 of the podcast. My name is Alex Schneider, along with Paul Eppy. First off, what we'd like to talk about with you today is just around the league news. We're going to start breaking this thing up into little sections and give you kind of almost like a TV show kind of perspective, not just jumbling a whole bunch of stuff into, 30 minutes or nothing. So, first topic of the day is league news. For me, the Blue Jays look that they have hold form from last year's postseason run. There's one I want to get your perspective on, Paul. I'll say that one for last. The second one it was pretty cool, and I got to watch it live. Was a historic debut for Rockies shortstop Trevor Story. He was the fifth player in the modern era to debut with 2 or more home runs, but he was the first to do so on opening day. So basically, he debuted his major league career on opening day and hit 2 bombs in Arizona. Like I said, it's historic. You don't really see you don't really see that.
No.
I can't wait. He's got 4 home runs already, so I'm hoping he has a home run filled season. Has a great season. If he does that, he might be the next Troy Tulowitzki, maybe even a little better.
It's funny you say that because the Rockies always seem to have pretty decent hitters. I mean, they play in Coors Field, and it's easy to hit home runs there, whatever. But guys like Tulowitzki and Carlos Gonzalez, and now Trevor Story, and used to be Todd Helton and Charlie Blackmon, those type of guys, they hit better, or they hit just as good wherever they're at. I mean, they still have that raw power, and that translates to all ballparks. Does it translate to Coors Field better? Yes, but I mean, if you put him in St. Louis or anywhere else around the country, he could hit for power wherever you put him.
Exactly, and the thing is I think so. Nolan Arenado, I think, had 40 bombs last year, and I think over half of them actually were out of Coors Field. Like, I think he hit under half of them at Coors Field. And honestly, I was listening to something on the radio the other day, and they were ranking the NL's most underrated offense. And one guy said the Rockies, and I was like, man, I couldn't agree with you more. Everybody says, oh, they're bad, team winning wise, but
the pitching is terrible.
I was just like, honestly, it's their pitching. Their pitching is god awful. Nolan Arenado can't hit 15 home runs in a game. Like, you're not going to win.
And you can't pitch either. Sorry.
Exactly. And then the thing I want to get your opinion on, which I think is cool. I'm so glad that someone's actually stepping forward and doing this. First off, Bryce Harper, obviously still in MVP form. The dude just rakes for days. I don't know. Got weird haircuts, but he can hit. But the thing I want to get your opinion on that I was super excited to hear about was that he was publicly broadcasting, I think it was a hat.
It was a hat,
shirt. Yeah, a hat that said "Make baseball fun again." And when I heard that, I instantly thought it was for the bat flip, things like the bat flip.
It was a Donald Trump style hat, mind you.
Yeah, I just think he's a young kid, which makes sense. It'd be different if like Robinson Cano was wearing it. It'd be a much bigger story. But I just think that someone's finally stepping up and saying, hey, the old times that wasn't allowed. You got hit, you got beamed. Now you can do it. David Ortiz makes a living off bat flipping.
I think you hit it, square on the nose. We discussed this with our bat flip thing, and it sort of carries over to Bryce Harper's hats. But they don't. There's no swagger in the league right now, in my opinion. I mean, there is, but you don't see it very often, and that's something that you need to see from Bryce Harper. And the good thing about him is that he's not just talking. He's not some average ball player who can, hit 20 home runs a year. He's the MVP. He has the stats and he has the qualities to back this up. So it's not like he's some nobody saying this. This is one of the best guys in the league. And I feel like if he's saying it, then others are probably thinking it, but they just don't want to say it themselves.
I was kind of getting tired of the whole Mike Trout, Bryce Harper comparisons there for a while, because Bryce Harper did not come up and perform like Mike Trout did. Mm-hmm. Because in all tools of the game, Mike Trout is number one. He's got all the tools that you can ask for: speed, he's got an arm, he's got a glove, he's got what you want. But I'll tell you this: you can't put Mike Trout on every team. He doesn't fit. You can put Bryce Harper on any team, and he will fit. A power hitter who hits third, to fourth in your lineup, he'll go on any team. You'll move positions. That's what separates him from what I say Mike Trout. But I'm super excited that he did that and came forward with that. That was just super cool for me.
I think as the game gets younger, we're going to see more things like bat flips and that, because the way you appeal to younger audiences is doing that stuff. And the average age of viewers in MLB is 56, not exactly young, as we've discussed. So I think we'll see more of it, which is good because I like to see more of it. It was kind of refreshing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay, well, that wraps up the league news. We're not going to mention too many stories. When we do that, it's just a few that kind of catch our eye. So we'll try and do that every week. Have a little section for you guys. But we'll move on to the next section we got.
Brand new.
We're calling it fantasy predictions. And basically, me and Paul actually are in the same fantasy league. He runs it.
Yep.
He's going to make my wallet go dry with the amount of cost it does for this freaking league.
It'll be a fun one. Hey, don't worry about that.
So basically what this is going to be is we want to name a player that we may not have, but we saw something in a game on TV or something like that we were like, man, maybe we should have taken him or should have him, something along those lines. So Paul, I'm going to let you start this one off and what you think.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it pretty short, but my thing is that, when I heard about Trevor's story, the first thing I did was I searched him on fantasy. I'm like, okay, if nobody's picked him up, he's mine. Sadly, he was already picked up. So my guy is Matt Duffy, actually, and he is on my team. He's the second baseman, third baseman, sort of utility guy for the Giants. And so far, he has 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. Through 2 or 3 games. That's pretty good. Last season had an average season. I think he had about 12 home runs. But I think he'll be getting more playing time this year. If he is available in your league, it probably wouldn't be bad to pick him up because, he's a utility guy and he pops, 15 home runs a year. So that's my guy. Nothing flashy, nothing sexy about it, but just one of those guys that's going to get in your lineup and get a couple hits, maybe get a run or two, and produce night in and night out.
So I actually had 2 that I had trouble kind of picking between the 2. My first one was Jock Peterson, just because I saw something that he went back to his original stance before he went to the home run derby and kind of screwed himself over. But he's back to his original stance. He was going to be my guy until you mentioned something right there that made me remember somebody I actually have on my fantasy team as well. One of my favorite players, and that guy is Robinson Cano.
Okay,
has
good pick.
been
Yep.
eating like all pitchers. He went 4 for 13 last week with 4 home runs, 7 RBIs. He's batting his on base percentage is .357. Dude is just killing it. Like I said, Jock Peterson is a good one too. I think he's going to have a comeback season that's going to be cool to watch. But Robinson Cano right now is putting all those people who hated on him last year to shame because he's coming out with a vengeance. And my pick to win that division, the Mariners, is looking pretty good right now, to be completely honest with you.
But let it be noted that it's still only April 8th.
Hey, if people can say fire Mike Matheny, I can say go Mariners.
Hey, we'll get into that. You can hold your horses there. We'll get into your rant.
Okay, well, and see, that's how easy it is. That's the wrap-up of the fantasy predictions. It's just, something that's just going to be implemented. We're going to try and remember to do stuff like this. Like I said, we're not trying to make it seem like we're just throwing this crap together at the last minute. That we actually, we take our time. I actually stayed up till midnight trying to finish all the stories from opening day on the ones that I like. So we're taking our time. We're trying to predict this. We're trying to get this stuff out to you. We're not saying, oh, we think Miguel Cabrera is going to be your fantasy pick for the week, because he should be your fantasy pick for every week.
Yeah,
you're going by that. But Robinson Cano is one of those household names. But the season he had last year, that's a solid pick. So that's what we're trying to do for you guys, trying to make it a little fun. We're also, just a side note, we talked about before the show, is we're going to do timestamps in the description of the video. That way, if you guys don't want to hear some of the stuff, you can fast forward and get to what you want to hear. We're just trying to make this easier for you guys.
Yep.
Hopefully, at some point in time, we can get a chat going. That way, you guys can talk to us when we're doing these.
And of course, you can, send us messages on Facebook, Twitter. I'm on that Twitter account all the time, and we keep an eye on the Facebook. So fire away. If you want to rip into us for our fantasy picks, then feel free to, and we'd be happy to address that.
Yeah, and like we said before, don't actually direct message us the page. Just put it like as just put it on the page, the front page, so that we'll pick a couple if we can find. I don't think there are any from the Facebook this week. So this week I don't have any. I'll try and check that more often once we hopefully get this rolling. But like I said, that's we've done the league news, which got through pretty easy, the fantasy predictions, and now we're getting on to what everybody wants to hear, and that's the Cardinal news. That's the hot topic of today's talk. I'm going to let you start off, Paul.
Yeah, I got a couple notes. I was taking some notes down throughout the week, and I have a couple things. One, I don't get why Molina was batting fifth against the Pirates for a game there. I don't need to talk up his defensive prowess, and it's always been said by a lot of people that he can go 0 for the season. He can bat straight 0, and if he performs as well as he does defensively, put him in the lineup, no doubt about it. But with that said, he shouldn't be batting fifth.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
I don't see any reason he should be batting above seventh, because there's no doubting that his offensive abilities have been, minimalized the past couple seasons due to injuries and age and just wear and tear. But there's no reason to be batting him fifth. And my other note that really stuck out to me was Randall Grichuk. I feel bad for the guy because he was touted coming into the season as one of the future leaders for the Cardinals. He's going to put up some pretty good numbers, yada, yada, yada. Makes sense. And then what do you know? He was benched. That's not putting much confidence in a guy. Coming into the season, they talked him up, and then the second or third game of the season, he gets benched.
For Hazelbaker, I think it was the third game.
I think it was the third game, yeah. And Hazelbaker, don't get me wrong, he had a fantastic spring.
And he's still having a fantastic season. Didn't he hit a home run?
He hit a home run, right. But Grichuk, I mean, you shouldn't be benching one of your star players, or one of your up-and-coming players at least. But nonetheless, he had a pretty slow start, much like the rest of the team. But yeah, those are my two notes I saw. And then the first game, Colton Wong he's off to a slow start too. There were 2 times when the bases were loaded, and he brought 0 runners in, and that's part of why we lost opening day. There's not much going on with situational hitting. If runners get on base, which is pretty rare, but they're not bringing them in.
The Randall Grichuk thing you're talking about, and being a guy that played baseball, I didn't hardly ever start. I'll be honest, I wasn't that good. But the thing is it doesn't matter how much effort and time you put into what you do. If someone takes that confidence out of you, you don't perform well. But you have to have that confidence to go up and hit, and that's what's wrong with Colton Wong. Colton Wong doesn't have any confidence. He got the contract, which should be enough confidence. Look, he's the type of guy that when he strikes out or flies out, he takes it to heart, and it wears on him and wears on him and wears on him.
That's a good thing to have, in my opinion, because you should want to do well.
Well, yeah, but to an extent, though, because that can actually give you some problems. That's why I honestly think that's why he's not hitting, is because he needs to let it go. You just got to leave it alone. So, like I said, I'm piggybacking on you. The confidence thing is huge. It doesn't matter who it is. If you take the confidence out of Yadier Molina, you don't bench somebody that you plan on having there. You got to give them that time to get in and get going. So, and then with the Yadier Molina thing, I completely agree with you, except for the fact that it does, like I mentioned in the preview, I do think that he's starting to drive the ball a little bit more. I think he's getting that bat head through, and it looks like he's putting a little bit of power behind it, but he definitely should not. He should be batting 7th. I don't think 8th, but he should be batting 7th.
Yep.
I would say that. At 8th, he wouldn't get any pitches because the pitcher's behind him. I think 7th would be good for Molina. I completely agree with you on that one. So notes that I have, basically, I'm just going to read them. finally, what I wish to come true did. Diaz got his first start in the major leagues.
Thanks to Johnny Peralta being injured. Or sorry,
Yeah.
Ruben
Tejada.
Ruben Tejada, my bad. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, it's a good but he did have a bad one, but that was nerves. You know, you can't expect a guy to go
It's
out
his
there.
first major league game. I'm not entirely surprised. I would kind of expect that, to be honest with you.
Exactly. So finally he made his major league debut, and I was super stoked to see that. That was cool. Another thing that I have is I ragged on Jed Jerko. Well, I first, right before the season opened, and it wasn't. Here's what I'm going to make clear: the guy defensively is pretty bad. He's not going to win a gold.
No, and that's. Go ahead. Sorry.
But the guy he's always hit. He's got good offense.
Yep.
It's just his defense. And I value defense over more than I value offense. That's why I think he's a below average player. That's why I rag on him so much. He hit a 2-run home run, I believe, a couple nights ago, and it kind of clicked to me that, I was ragging on the guy a little bit. But I value defense more than anything. I play solo pitch softball now, and I focus more on the defensive side than I do the offensive side.
I want to counter that point real quick. You value defense more, and I do too. However, with this Cardinals team, in the past 3 years of Cardinals teams, you have to value offense more, in my opinion, because there's nothing else there. There's so many injuries, and I mean, I would take right now a below average defensively player, aka Jed Jerko, and if he can hit, then put him in the lineup because you need offense more than you need defense right now.
Yeah, and that's a fair assessment. Right now, Cardinals need offense. There's no doubt in my mind that needs to happen. I'm thinking over your long stretch though, you're gonna need better defense. Defense is gonna win you championships, and I think if Jed Jerko, I'll just say this right now, should not be starting any games at shortstop.
Yeah, he should be a second baseman straight up. There should
be no way that Mike Matheny should be sitting there going, you know what, Jed Jerko, I think I'll play shortstop. That shouldn't even enter his mind. And I had a problem with that, seeing him starting shortstop the other day. Another thing I got rid of that is the Randall Grichuk. We said that, but he had a strikeout problem. He's got a huge strikeout problem.
The entire team has a strikeout problem right now.
Exactly. But on a good note, I'll say this. The bullpen we have looks very strong.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, that was what I think I had written down was sort of the good, the bad, the ugly. And the good was the bullpen. And the bullpen still looks stellar.
Exactly. But they can't prove anything if we don't have a lead going in.
If there's no lead to protect, then there's really nothing to go off of.
Exactly. And the Cardinals, I would have to say, went up against a Pirates team that the best players they had were the three outfielders. Their infield is kind of made up of this, here, and everywhere kind of team. And what sucked the most was David Freese, the ex-Cardinal, killed the Cardinals.
Was the Cardinal killer? Yeah, I completely agree.
But that hurts so much. It was so bad rooting against David Freese. He didn't really perform too much with the Cardinals his last season. It kind of hurt, Yeah, I was one of those fans. Oh, we need to get rid of him or something, But he's performing now, and I wish nothing but the best of luck to him.
Except for when he's playing the Cardinals.
Except when he's playing the Cardinals. I actually have his autograph from the 2011 when he was the MVP. I'm super excited. I will never get rid of that ball.
No, of course.
So, I'm super excited. That was really cool. But yeah, best of luck to him. Ex-Cardinal. I wish him nothing but the best. But like I said, the bullpen looked very strong. Kevin Segras looks to be back, and I'm excited to see that. We need a nice left-handed reliever who pitches really hard and strong. And then, that's basically, what I got.
I mentioned the starting pitching real quick.
Okay.
I told you that I sort of had this good, the bad, the ugly type thing. The good was the bullpen. Sorry. The bad was the starting pitching, and the ugly was the offense. The starting pitching, now it's April 8th. Obviously, there's only been 3 games played. I think they'll figure it out because they're too talented. But they look pretty bad, to be honest with you. They didn't look too good either. We were talking about the bullpen not having a lead. Part of that goes on the offense for not scoring anything. Part of that goes on the starting pitching for not really pitching all that well. Michael Wacha didn't look great. Adam Wainwright didn't look great.
But to be fair, though, if you're in the major leagues, granted, you're in the major leagues, you're getting paid millions. Out of the three, Wainwright did his job for the most part.
Sure.
I would say if
he had a bad first 2 innings.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
if you allow 3 or fewer runs, there should be a way that your team can kind of crawl back. Yeah. I believe
the offense should be able to score a couple runs to keep you in it.
Exactly.
Now, granted, let's not downplay the Pirates' pitching here. It was pretty good.
I have some no names like Juan Nicasio out of nowhere.
Part of it is that the Cardinals made him look good, but at the same time, he still pitched really well. And Francisco Liriano, I mean, he proved why he's their number 2 guy.
And why he'd be an ace on almost any other staff.
Almost any other staff, he'd be an ace, and he's the number 2 guy. And thank God we didn't face Garrett Cole because that probably would have been pretty ugly.
Yeah, and that's the thing I got to ask because I was watching that game, and I was thinking, I was like, man, there's been, we faced some pretty, as the Cardinals, I say we, as the Cardinals, have gone up against some really good pitching. Why in the hell can the Cardinals smash Clayton Kershaw, but can't lay a finger on Liriano? How does that happen?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many variables to think about, I think, that we're not touching on. You have weather, you have the fact that it's the beginning of the season. Maybe Liriano just has a different delivery or something where you can't see it.
Well, Liriano's delivery is different because he kind of like coils and spins back around, and then he throws it, and he hides the ball really well. But Liriano doesn't have 3 Cy Youngs. Clayton Kershaw has 3. And we'll have more.
He's going to have way more. Yeah, and a couple of MVPs to go along with it, I'm sure.
Exactly. And another thing I want to say, I still believe in my key of the offense. It's got to be Colton Wong. It has to be Colton Wong. And I'm actually going to lead this into our big discussion of the day that I need to get off. But Colton Wong, does he swing for the fence every time? I would say yes.
Yeah, I think
I think the reason why is because he does make mistakes. And when you make mistakes in the field or when you're hitting, you want to get the trust back of your teammates. Mm-hmm. Cardinals are not the team that like, oh, he messed up, we don't like him anymore. It's a family kind of atmosphere. So they still like him, but as a competitor in your mind, you think that they won't. Colton Wong, if you watch this, it'd be really cool if you did. I doubt it. But if you see this,
I can tweet it out to him.
Here's what needs to happen, Colton. Stop swinging for the fence. You are like 5'9". You are really fast. I'm not saying don't hit home runs, but here's what I've noticed playing baseball. When you aim for base hits, your bat seems to flow a little better, and the home runs will come. You don't have to swing for the fences every time. I'm not telling you don't. I'm leading this right to the rant right now. Listen to ESPN radio today. Okay, this has been boiling over for a while, but going into the Colton Wong thing. A guy called in to the Kevin Wheeler show. Kevin Wheeler is an awesome host. I listen to him probably every day. But he called in, and he said that Colton Wong should stop swinging for the fences, which is fair. But he said that he should get rid of his leg kick on his batting stance. Now it's kind of like, oh, okay, I can see that. But then again, I said, I can't. He's 25 years old. I'm gonna go ahead and guess he's probably had that version of that stance through college.
Most of his life.
I would go ahead and say. So it's not that easy just to drop a leg kick because that's his timing factor. Everybody that plays baseball or any softball, slow pitch, whatever you play, you have a timing mechanism that you use to keep everything in rhythm. And that's his. He's not going to change it. Mm-hmm. But then he said to bench him if he's not going to start playing.
Who would you put in? Jed Jerko, I guess. But I mean,
but that's not even the point that kind of bugged me because I was like, okay, they could find someone. The point that bugged me is the fact that Colton Wong, okay, he gets picked off in the 2013 World Series, picked off, and they lose that certain game. But he comes back and he hits a walk-off home run here and there, plays solid defense. Everybody's praising him. He starts off bad for the first I'm going to reiterate, 3 of 162 games, and it's time to bench him or get rid of him.
No, yeah, this is addressing that. I'm not going to press the panic button right now. It's 3 games into the season. Doing that would just be simply idiotic. But it's hard to ignore what's been going on these first 3 games. Our job here is to analyze this and see what the trend is, and the trend isn't good. You cannot ignore that. But there's still 150-some games left, and a lot can happen in the next 5 months.
Exactly. Okay, we won what was it, 100 games? Was it an even 100?
For what?
Last year. Was it 100? Or was it 101?
For
the Cardinals record.
Oh, 100 games, yes.
Okay, so you have 100. Okay, that means you have 62 losses. So let's just say you just took 3 of them up right now. Like, we've done it before with less pieces.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. We did that basically without Adam Wainwright the whole season. You just gave him a 5-year contract to stay with you guys because you never had a up-the-middle duo as solid as Holton Long and Johnny Peralta in the past, I'd say probably 10 years, probably. At least 10 years. I'm going to go ahead and say
fair enough,
probably more. So it's not time to bench Holton Long. You guys need to back off of him for a minute, let the kid breathe, and let him do what he's basically paid to do.
And you're using Colton Wong as a poster child here, which I completely agree with, but that goes with everybody on the entire team. It's not time to bench Randall Grichuk. It's not time to bench Stephen Piscotty. First base is a black hole, so I don't know what to do there. But it's not time to bench all these guys just because they're not performing 3 games in the season. But let's not discount what the Pirates have done. They've been really good the past couple seasons. We lost to a good team. It's not like we lost to the Braves or the Brewers or the Reds or the Rockies. We lost to a playoff team.
And the thing is we've lost to them 3 straight opening nights now.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't bother me. None. Like, you're going to lose games. Just because you sweep somebody doesn't mean that you should sweep everybody the whole season. Things happen. It's the first game of the season. First series of the season. Not everybody's flowing on all cylinders. A lot of them probably may be tired from spring training or haven't got to this whole, hit major league pitching quite yet. But like you said, it's not time to fire people. And that's another thing. People are trying to tell me that they should fire Mike Matheny and John Mabry.
John Mabry, I think – I'm not going to say he's the best because, like I've been saying, the offense has been going down and down and down. The easy target is the manager. That's a very easy target because people do not want to blame players for much. And that goes for a lot of sports. But when you see this overall trend, that's on the manager. Short term or even a season, I'm going to blame the players more because it's ultimately their job to hit the ball. But when you see an overall trend over 3 seasons, that's when I'm going to blame the managers.
But here's what I was thinking about. Okay, so my cousin actually put on Facebook. He said, "Oh, they struck out 32 times this series." Okay, I don't think that John Mabry is standing in the batter's box telling these guys when to swing.
No.
Okay, you have Randall Grichuk. I watched Randall Grichuk get back. It took all but 30 seconds to watch because on 3 straight pitches, he swung and missed it. All 3, they were the same pitch, the same spot. He swung and missed it all 3 and struck out. Okay, John Mabry is not in the other's batter's box, saying, "Hey, swing at this pitch."
Yeah,
hey,
swing now, swing at this. Yep.
And the thing with Mike Matheny, you have a guy that's taken his team to the playoffs. Every season, he's been the head of that team. Okay? I understand if you have a gut feeling. Somebody told me they were going to lose 100 games. Now, if you truly believe that they're going to lose 100 games, and you believe any of this crap that we're complaining about is true, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you guys are fake Cardinal fans because it's 3 games of 162.
Mm-hmm.
You need to chill out a minute. Like, this goes till September. You realize, like we have all this time.
It's funny you say fake Cardinal fans. I've thought about this a lot over the past couple of years. in my honest opinion, we are, like, you and me, our generation of Cardinal fans is the most spoiled fan base in sports, because
no doubt.
we have not known anything else other than playoff baseball and consistency and winning. And I think a lot of people who are doing the complaining are more people of, I'll say, our age, because the older generations, they've seen a couple losing seasons, and they know what it's like to suck here and there. But we don't know what it's like to suck. So when we lose 3 games in a row in a really bad fashion, like we have done, our inclination is to panic because we're not winning.
Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more, except for the fact that I don't think it's just our generation. I think it's the older generation. But the part of the older generation I think it is the people, for instance, who don't like bat flips, who want to go back to the old conventional ways of baseball where you can truck over a catcher and kill them or do all this kind of thing. That's fine and all, but you realize that things have to change. Players have to be safe. This isn't an NFL show by all means, but there's NFL players who are retiring at the age of 30 because of CTE problems.
You shouldn't be banging each other's heads in.
Exactly. I don't want to see somebody like, for instance, Colton Wong having to retire from baseball because something along those lines. He got trucked over too many times and now his knees are bad. That's not what it should be. The only thing that I have to say about the Mike Matheny thing that I'm going to touch on just real quick is that a lot of people want to fire Mike Matheny.
No, not now.
No, there's a lot of, trust me, there are a lot of people, they're the fake Cardinal fans. There's a lot of people that say, fire Mike Matheny. But here's the thing. How many of them are actually giving you a reason, or not Mike Matheny, I'm talking John Mabry. A lot of people are saying fire John Mabry. How many people are actually willing to give you a replacement for John Mabry that actually makes sense?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'm not a big Mabry fan, but I have no idea who to put in. So. And
here's the thing: is I was actually with a buddy yesterday, and we were at his work for a second, and then his boss actually came up and said, "There's one guy that everybody remembers from the Cardinals, and if you remember, he was like one of the all-time greats in hitting, and it was Mark McGwire."
Of course.
Because I don't think Mark McGwire's with the Dodgers anymore.
He's with the Padres, I believe.
Exactly. But Mark McGwire, when he was here, we were an offensive hitting team.
Mm-hmm.
And you know why?
Because Mark McGwire was a good hitter.
Because Mark McGwire knew how to hit. I don't know how many Silver Sluggers John Mabry won, but I don't think it was any more than 2, if one, if that.
Yeah.
Mark McGwire knew how to hit.
Steroids aside, yeah, the guy could still rake.
Exactly. Steroids don't help you hit. They add a little extra, juice for you in the gym, but they're not allowing you to put the bat on the ball. Exactly. That's not going to took steroids. It's going to be easy. Yep. If he did it, that's whatever. I don't like anybody who takes steroids. It's cheating. But it was a good hitting coach.
Yep.
Like, if you're going to tell me fire this person or bench this person,
who are you going to bring in?
Tell me who you want to bring in, because don't just say fire them, because that's easy.
Yep.
That was a huge thing for me. I'm sick and tired of people. Oh, we need to bench this person. We need to fire these people. Okay, remember that here come August, September. We're actually, either in the playoff, in the wild card, or we're the head of our division. Right. Remember, you said that. That way, when you come up to me, go, "Oh, Mike Matheny's the greatest of all time. He's the greatest manager the Cardinals have had in a long, long time." Yeah, then I'm going to shove that right back in your face and say, "Remember when you told me that you wanted to fire him? When the season first started after the 3rd game." Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Everybody, please. Take a chill pill so I don't have to blow a gasket when I'm driving around my car because I hear a bunch of idiots talking about firing people and benching people, because it's the first games. They play the Atlanta Braves the next 3 games.
Yeah,
and then the Brewers after that.
My next and was my last note was going to be, look who the Cardinals are playing next. They are playing the trailer trash of the National League. And I don't have any qualms in saying that. The Braves are god-awful. The Reds are rebuilding. They're really bad. And they play them next weekend. And then in between, they play the Brewers, who have a couple pieces here and there, but they're not a good team.
They had an outfielder, Chris Davis, who hit close to 40 bombs or something like that. Who's not even with them anymore. He went to the A's, people. That shows you how bad the Brewers are. You're willing to leave that team to go to
And
the A's?
and they've considered trading Lucroy and maybe even Braun. So, I mean, they are not a good team. None of these teams we're playing the next week are any good, and they're not going to be any good for a couple seasons. So let's, take a chill pill, like you said, and see how the Cardinals do versus their lesser opponents. Now, if they continue to suck against them, then we'll have a different discussion. But my guess is that they're not going to, because they still have a very good team.
If we're under 500 halfway through the season, and you guys are wanting to fire coaches and stuff, I'll listen then. But I'm not listening right now. I will listen, because there's going to be times we're going to go through hardships. Joe Madden is by far one of the best coaches in the league and was with the Rays, who were awful for a couple seasons. He stuck with them. No one wanted to fire him. Like you said, they're playing awful teams that they should be. I'm not saying they should clean sweep the whole week. They're going to lose games. It happens. You don't come to the ballpark every day with all your best stuff. And I'm going to end that right there before it goes any longer, because I could probably talk all day on that. But on the concept of best stuff, I'll ask you one quick question that I was thinking about the other day. After Wainwright retires or leaves, whatever it comes to be, who do you think will be the Cardinals' next ace out of their pitching rotation now, if it stays the same, after Waino leaves? Because I think the popular decision would be Waka. But I'm going to say
Carlos Martinez.
That's exactly who I have down.
Mm-hmm.
The most popular bet would be Waka. But I don't think you can argue with the fact that Carlos Martinez, no matter if he's good to go, he doesn't have a stomach for nothing, but if he's feeling all right, he pitches nasty. But the thing is, he pitches with heart. If no one's noticed yet, and I take notice about a lot of this, Oscar Taveras died of a car accident a couple years ago, and wore number 18. And Carlos Martinez went up to Mike Matheny and asked to wear that number in honor, because Carlos Martinez and him are friends. Carlos Martinez now, every time he pitches, writes 18 in the dirt behind the pitcher's mound. Every time he pitches. The guy pitches with heart. He pitches with a purpose. He wants to be right by his friend, to do good by his friend. And I think that he does that better than anybody else. It's hard not to root for somebody like that. So I just, it was a tragic thing what happened to Oscar. I'm glad Carlos took that number in honor of him. I can't wait to see Carlos pitch, and not this game on the second game of the Brave series. But like I said, I think Carlos Martinez takes that reign. If Waka takes it, that's fine. You really can't go wrong between the two. Waka's kind of a mini Wainwright, Waino Jr., like I like to call him. But I think Carlos Martinez is the next big thing for the Cardinals.
That's fair. I don't think anyone's disagreeing with you. I remember when the Cardinals have been rumored in a couple of these trades the past couple of years, one of the names brought up was that they're not going to trade Martinez because he's too good. And I think we're going to hopefully see that with this season, next season, etc.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think me and one of my buddies think that Lynn will be gone in a couple of years. I don't think he sticks around town. Wainwright, he's getting kind of up there in age. He might retire soon. But yeah, I think if your core two people that you have is going to be Waka and Martinez, I don't think you're doing too bad, to be honest with you.
No, not at all. No, I think you're going to – and let's not forget Lance Lynn in this. Where does he fit in? Does he leave? Does he pursue other opportunities, or does he stick around? And if he sticks around, then yeah, we're going to have just as good of a rotation as we've had.
I think Lance Lynn leaves, to be completely honest with you.
That's fair.
I think he goes to an American League team so he doesn't have to hit. He's not one of the best hitting pitchers, to be completely honest with you. I just think that he'll end up leaving. If he doesn't, that's fine. So, like I said, Carlos Martinez is my pick against the popular vote of Waka, I would assume. But for me, that kind of wraps it up.
I got nothing. I think that'll probably about do it.
Okay, well, thank you guys for tuning in. I kind of want to do the thing with the podcast, kind of hitting at the next week's kind of thing, keep you guys tuning in and stuff. We're going to try to hit the same things we hit today, the different categories and stuff. But I think next week with the podcast, I think I kind of want to hit on something. Because I was thinking about this today. I remember we picked trade candidates that we think might be traded for and stuff. I want to hint, because I came up with another one. And the only thing I'm going to give people is the Twins.
So you're looking at teams we could trade to?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Let's
I'll have
say
to think about
this
that.
Twins, because I think they have one piece of hidden talent that I think the Cardinals can exploit, and I think he could do pretty well with us. I don't know if they'll trade him, but I'm just going to give people Twins. And
Fair
the
enough.
next podcast, you guys will have to tune in to see what the hell I'm talking about.
We got a cliffhanger. Oh, boy.
Exactly. And that's what he said. We're trying to make this fun for you guys. I want you guys to come back. So I'm going to go ahead, like I said, Twins. If you have some input on who you think it is, go to the Twitter account, put your guess, and then put hashtag Twins and hashtag 11th inning stretch, of course. And then for Facebook, do the same thing. Who you think it is, hashtag Twins and hashtag 11th inning stretch. And then we will see if anybody is right.
My cliffhanger for the week is I got into a Twitter feud with Cubs fans last weekend, and it was very entertaining. And I want to address that next week because it's kind of a long story, but it was a rather heated interchange for a couple of hours between me and Cubs fans, and we got into it pretty good. And I'll pull up some of the tweets and I'll read them off next week. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. So.
Okay, and like you said, he got in a heated argument with some. I'll say heated argument. I don't know if that's what heated discussion. We'll go with that. But this is what we want to talk with you guys. So hit us. Post comments and stuff like this on the YouTube video. Put it on the social media pages and stuff like that. Hopefully, here shortly, me and Paul can get out to some games and send you guys some pictures of that and have some good things. And also, hopefully by next week, I got another thing, is we might be hitting you guys up with a little merchandise promotion that I'm currently working on right now. Watch out for that. It's not anything that'll get you any money off or nothing like that, but kind of promoting a company that I plan on working for here that doesn't get a lot of love or nothing like that. If you guys want to know about that. But you have your 2 cliffhangers. We'll see you again next week. I can't wait for it to happen. Thanks for letting us both rant. You guys have a good weekend, and hopefully we see you next week.
Peace out. Go Cards.